Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Who Asked Me podcast. If you are watching me on YouTube, you are getting me raw and unedited. And honestly, if you watch me on YouTube in the first place, I'm always showing up raw and unedited. But I don't have a towel on my head. I have a t-shirt on my head. I try not to wrap my hair in a towel when I get out of the shower. It's best to do it with like a t-shirt or something a little bit softer, not a cotton towel, because that can, I'm not going to say it can break your hair off, because almost anything can break your hair off, but it's definitely better for your hair to do a t-shirt. But we're not here to talk about hair today. No. It's just been such an interesting week. And trust me, I know all of your favorite Bravo podcasters, content creator friends are feeling it. I have had to reschedule a couple podcasts this week. I have a tickle in my throat. I don't know what's going on. Well, no, I do know what's going on. I don't know about anywhere else. St. Louis, it was cold all week, freezing even. I think we got to like 30 in the 30s a couple of days, especially in the morning. Today, it was 80 degrees. It's November 14th. Like madness. True madness. Excuse me. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get into this episode. Today, we are going to be mainly discussing Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, and I am so excited. I am so invested. But before we get into that, I want to talk about two things. I binged a show called All Her Fault. And listen, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you have to have been living under a rock for the past, I don't know, week or so. I had texted Raven about it because if you listen to both me and Raven, you know we love our favorite genre of show, of scripted TV, is rich white women in distress. Okay? Think Big Little Lies. Think, what was that show? Sirens. We watched that. I don't know if me and Raven ever talked about how we felt about Sirens. It was just like, nah. Okay, whatever. All Her Fault is the mecca of that. What a wild fucking ride. Up until the very end, you kind of know what's going on, but then you're like, wait, do I know what's going on? Oh my God. When I say I want everybody to watch it, I want everybody to watch it. Now, a lot of my mom friends have been like, I don't know if I can watch this. I don't know if I can watch this. And I can only imagine how moms feel watching that, because that has to be one of your biggest fears. Imagine. But I hate to say it, Jake Lacey, I'm so sorry. You are forever typecast in my mind. I will not see you besides a terrible husband. Between the first season of White Lotus that he was in, this, and I want to say there was one other character that he played where he was just an absolute terror and asshole. Anytime I see his face now, I'm automatically annoyed. And honestly, truly, he annoyed me so badly in season 1 of White Lotus. I almost didn't watch season 2 of White Lotus, and that would have been a shame because I love White Lotus. Well, season 1 is actually my least favorite season, but we don't need to go back there. Anyways, besides that, BravoCon is this weekend. I'm not going to lie to y'all. I'm here to keep it real with you. I was in full blown, I was upset. Okay, there's no other way to put it. I was upset. I was super hard on myself yesterday. I was very I feel like a fucking loser because first year of BravoCon, obviously I didn't go, we really didn't know what it was going to be. Then it was COVID, right? Because the first BravoCon was in 2019, I think. And then it came back and it went to Vegas, I believe. And BravoCon was always falling on around what my ex-husband's birthday would have been. So I remember back then I was like, oh, I'm probably not ever going to get to go to BravoCon. I feel like I told one of y'all this at one time, probably never going to get to go to BravoCon because it's, my then husband's birthday. Now I'm free, right? And I had every intention on going this year, but as we know, I lost my job back in July, and it took me a while to and get another one. I just started working 2 weeks ago. On the 3rd of November was my first day of work at my new job. And I'm just like, God, like beating myself up, like I should be there. And then also there's a part of me that's like, I don't know. So, when you are in this content creation space, I'm just going to like keep it so honest. Like sometimes you feel like no matter, I do what I do because one, I love it. Two, I love interacting with y'all and I love like having a space to be able to talk about this stuff. But I'm not going to lie, it would be nice to be invited to some things. It would be nice to like, see my hard work like be like rewarded by something in my mind. You know what I mean? Especially when it's just one of those things where in this space, sometimes it can feel like, okay, do what goes into deciding what content creators get what opportunities? Because just to be quite honest, there are some that like I I have numbers, right? Like I don't know. It's one of those things where you just start to second guess yourself, and I feel like a loser because I wasn't invited. Obviously, I probably will never be invited. I don't well, let me not put that into the universe. I wasn't invited. I don't know if that's ever going to be an option for me. And for me, I was like, you should have gotten yourself there somehow, some way. But it looks fun. Y'all know I love me some Vegas, but it was just one of those things where I'm like, I feel like a fucking loser. I feel like I am like holding, I don't know what else I can be doing, right? I'm pushing out so much content, but it was just one of those things where I'm just gonna be honest with you guys. I felt like, what is this? But anyways, enough with that. Nothing much has come out of BravoCon so far except for the Valley Persian style trailer. I'm probably not going to watch that. I wasn't a big Shaws of Sunset person. And then Tom and Lala being full time on the Valley, like just the regular Valley or Valley LA, whatever you want to call it. Don't care about that. But I think that's it. Oh, we kind of got like an answer, non-answer about whether Kyle and Amanda are actually separated. It's giving yes. Okay, just to be clear, it's giving yes. They, well, not they, Kyle kind of gave this like half-ass answer that wasn't no. He was like, we're absolutely still married. But much like everything and da 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 da, da they're going through a tough season. And I have to ask, how many tough seasons are Kyle and Amanda going to go through? If the whole relationship is a tough season, what are we doing here? I have to ask. I have to ask. I'm so sorry. But with that being said, I want to move on to Secret Lives of Mormon Wives because I have been binging. And I did not know if I was really going to watch because season 2 really irritated the shit out of me. But baby, this show has a good concept. I don't know if it's the fact that I don't know if Hulu is ready to do a reality TV show like this or if they did not think this through all the way, because while I'm watching season 3, I am already like, where are we going from here with some of these women? Like what's the deal? I'm not saying we need to rebrand the show. Putting out 2 seasons in 1 year is admirable. Those women are working hard, but I think it's time to just like chill, maybe reset and get an understanding of some things, right? So, of course, right off the bat, first episode, first 5 minutes, we find out that Jesse and Marciano shared a kiss. Everybody's jaw stayed in place. And we find out that apparently Jesse and Jordan were pulling like a Ross and Rachel and they were on a break and no one knew. I do believe that they were separated. So, one thing about me, y'all know I don't get on Reddit unless I really want the tea. What I was looking for, this is a while ago before this season of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives even started. I was under the understanding that oldest girl that Jesse and Jordan have, I thought that was Jesse's daughter from from her first marriage, right? Because she was married before. I didn't know that was Jordan. And I was confused because I was like, why did all of a sudden they stop showing her? Because I think the girl's like 9, 10, 11. She's like between 9 and 11, I think. I was like, oh, I wonder if her dad like didn't want her shown anymore, thinking that was Jesse's ex-husband. Then so when I like started to look things up, I was like, I think I typed in like Jesse ex-husband. And I found myself on a Reddit thread discussing everything. And they were like, yeah, when she got pregnant, blah, blah. So the story goes that, first of all, that's Jordan's daughter from, I think he got his high school girlfriend pregnant. That's his daughter. And then Jesse and Jordan have those two young kids together. Those are the only kids that Jesse has. Jesse was married before for like maybe right at a year, less than a year, same girl. And the relationship, quote unquote, just wasn't working. However, it's alleged that she did not get divorced until she was pregnant with their son. Yeah, their son is the oldest. And apparently she got pregnant while she was still married. So Jesse, I guess, allegedly cheated on her ex-husband, her first husband, with Jordan. And the Reddit said that she didn't know who the baby dad was. She then goes into like, and I found some remnants because Jesse has been pretty good. I don't want to say she scrubbed certain things off the internet, but they are no longer, they're very hard to find, is what I will say. Even people on Reddit would contest. There was something she had to, I'm pretty sure I read that she had to pay that ex-husband an amount of money to like wipe her hands clean, because Jesse is the breadwinner. That no matter who she is with, they have that house that's for sale right now for $2.5 million. Because of her business. And she has had all these things before she was with Jordan. I think she was working towards them while she was with that ex-husband. But Jesse admitted that she suffers from low self-esteem. And I mean this in like the most, or the least shady way possible. Duh. Okay. Stevie Wonder could have fucking told us that. I like Jesse, and I'm glad that Jesse is very honest about all the procedures that she gets done. But with that being said, Jesse gets a lot of procedures done. Okay. She is always and one thing that I always notice is when people get like these like little procedures, right? So she got her nostrils tucked. She got her like eye, not the eye, the eyelid is the lid. What's the bottom? The eye bottom? What's this? Under eyes, whatever. Jesse is, I'm 33. I think Jesse's 31 or 32. She was like, oh, I noticed that I had, if you're on, almost at TikTok, if you're on YouTube, you can see me right now. I'm going to smile. It literally was this, like the lines that everybody has at our age that start to form underneath your eyes. Not a big deal. Most people have them, right? Normal people have them. But I'm also all for, if you have the money and you have a tweak that you want made, tweak it, right? But no one has, y'all can drag me for this, but I have a hard time believing that anyone who gets that many little procedures done and is always getting a procedure done, whether they are honest about it or not, has high self-esteem. That's just like, duh. And I think she justifies it by saying like, I'm being honest about it. So like, you can't ever drag me, kind of like the notion of like spill your own tea, which I respect, whatever. Again, as long as you're not selling stuff to people claiming that it got rid of things when you got surgery, but I digress. So they were apparently separated. Jesse went to LA, kissed Marciano, etc., etc. I am shocked at how honest Jesse has been about this. And while I want to be honest, I think that Jesse has made some stupid decisions along the way, right? Like, mama, why was you reading them text messages to the girls? And like, I don't think that Marciano should have came to lunch after the lie detector. I don't think any of that. And I understand where I would feel a type of way, and it would almost feel like, okay, is this a joke to you? Like, you went and took this lie detector test for the show, right? Right. And then you go to dinner with this guy, all of you, that's like a slap in the face. However, that's about where my empathy and sympathy for Jordan begins and ends, because another thing that I found on the Reddit before any of this, I'm telling y'all, this is like probably season 1 of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, is the fact that Jordan has a temper. That is like a known fact in Utah. And actually, Layla gave an interview I think with the Page Six guys, where she spoke and she was like, listen, we all like hang out with them, obviously, and we all were kind of just like, oh, that's just Jordan. Jordan makes a lot of like crude jokes. Jordan gets like really hot tempered. And we kind of all shrugged it off as that's just Jordan. But then to find out that all of these things were happening behind the scenes, we all were not shocked. And I'm like, see, that's my thing. Everybody is not shocked by, and I do feel like people are glossing over the emotional abuse. So what I saw on Reddit, well, way back then, is that Jordan has a temper, right? And that Jesse at one point had I don't know if it was an assistant or somebody who worked at the salon. He was a gay man and they were all playing a game, and something happened that ended up with Jordan punching this guy in the face. Like punched him in the face. Jesse had to give the guy well, she didn't have to, but she ended up giving the guy an NDA, and I think from what I read on Reddit, paying him some money. This is like the alleged, but I have looked into the hitting of the guy, and that did happen, right? That was my first thing that I was like, what the hell? Also, Jordan followed Kyle fucking Rittenhouse on Instagram until he got called out for it. And I know y'all may be like not understanding the correlation. And I know when y'all hate when some people bring up politics. I don't care. You can exit stage left. Somebody following Kyle Rittenhouse tells me that they are inherently violent, especially like a man. Like you, what? And Jesse's her marriage is like one of the only things that has made me majorly side eye her. Everything else, I'm just like, I mean, she's being a girl on a reality TV show. Her marriage, I'm like, so it is like known around Utah that Jordan has that temper. She is covered up for him. And she said that she has been made to feel less than about herself from her previous relationship to this one with Jordan. Listen, married people fight. Arguments happen. Fighting every day is not normal. Verbally talking down to someone every day is not normal. And there's a way to argue and not be verbally abusive. And y'all know me. I don't like when everybody was trying to call KB verbally abusive because she was like, stop talking to me, bitch, to Edmund. I don't see that as verbal abuse. But the repeated, like, calling of names, repeated, like, tearing someone down, I'm sorry. That actually, I'm not sorry about this. That is verbal abuse. Having a moment of frustration, being like, bitch, stop talking to me. I think I said on here, my ex-husband called me a bitch before. That's not why we got divorced, but I wasn't like, I would not consider that verbally abusive. He was not verbally abusive to me in the slightest, right? Some things are arguments and some things are verbal abuse. Jordan, I think verbal abuse is, I know for a fact that it's the one abuse that is really hard to prove. I had a former friend deal with that, and I actually lived with them at the time that was happening. And while that is very much so not my story, I did live in the house while that was happening. And I think that that is when I realized, like, oh, wow, this is bad. Because I remember back then just being somebody who, like, I was kind of confined to my room, of course, when it was like happening, and like I could still hear it. You know what I mean? I remember I was very young also. That was like the first time I'd ever moved out. I remember being like, they fight a lot. And I was like, he's an asshole. And then when my then friend opened up to me about like what she, like, you know, it was verbally abusive, that's like when it clicked to me. And because I had that experience, it shaped how I see a lot of these situations with men, especially men who are constantly degrading women. And cheating is wrong, right? And I'm still a little confused because the whole like affair thing, we're really getting into the Mormon church, the conservatism, the traditional values in this, because if they're saying they were separated and no one knew and she went out and kissed this guy, and then had an emotional affair. Did you have an emotional affair? Well, like, okay, and again, as somebody who is divorced, when breaks are happening, when separations are happening, you need to be very, very, very fucking clear on what the rules are and what your boundaries are, which we saw Jordan and Jesse kind of get there, right? To during the show when they separated, and they said it's a 90-day trial period. They're, you know, some people are, they're 2 days off at home, 2 days, whatever, et cetera, et cetera. But there's a gray area there. And the thing that really is just like baffling me is that Jordan knew about this. Jordan knew about it when it first happened, and they kind of worked through it privately. But then when it became public, which, and I will give him some grace there too, like it's completely different when it became public. However, you decided to stay with her. And this was at the point that we're watching this was 6 months prior to the show, the part that we're watching now. Okay. So you decided to stay with her when it was not public information. But now you want to act like you are this like ultimate victim. And I don't know if Jordan thought that he was going to get the Ariana Madix treatment, but that's what it's giving. Okay. Because again, cheating, bad. The kiss, not good. Shouldn't have done that. The texting, not good. Shouldn't have done that. Shouldn't have invited him to dinner. I have no argument there on that. But him constantly trying to disregard the things that his, like what he has done in their marriage. And not only that, when he invited everybody over to the barbecue, let me be honest with y'all there. I can hold my friend accountable and say, girlfriend, I don't think you should have done that. I don't think that was the right thing. Wouldn't have been me. If you like it, I love it. Right? I probably wouldn't say if you like it, I love it about that one. But I would be like, I don't know about that one, girl. Wouldn't have done that. But if you think that I am going to my friend's husband's barbecue that he is throwing at her house, because make no mistake, and I don't care if y'all call me a misandrist about this or whatever, because that was a man and she was in, it was roles were reversed. People are way too excited and anxious to be able to say if roles were reversed. The roles cannot be reversed. Why? Because of the patriarchy. Why? Because there will never ever be an instance where the woman is, especially in this instance, where the woman has more power over the man. And I don't know if now that I've said that out of my mouth, I don't know if that's what I mean. So I'm going to roll that one back and workshop that one. However, they have that house, like Jesse is the breadwinner. I don't think Jordan works at all. If you think I'm going to my friend's house because her husband, who she separated from, is having a barbecue when he did not invite her to her home, okay? If you think I'm going over there to listen to him complain about my friend, you are out of your rabbit ass mind. You are out of your rabbit ass mind. I'm not co-signing that shit at all. You can call me a misandrist. I don't fucking care. I can tell my friend, girlfriend, you was wrong for that. But I'm not going to sit over there with her husband, listen to him say, we need to remember that she's the one that had the affair, knowing damn well you was talking down in your throat to that girl. And another thing that was very telling to me is how everybody is reacting. All the women are reacting to hearing that Jordan is verbally abusive. Jaws stayed in place. Her mom and her sisters, she was like, I should have done this 6 months ago. Her mom said, no, you should have done this years ago. She said, no, baby, you should have done this years ago. How people's parents react is always going to be very telling to me, unless those parents are Taylor Frankie Pauls. They're not included in this, okay, because they suck. But her mom and her sisters, they were like, we haven't seen like the Jesse that we know in so long. Her mom saying, y'all should have separated a while ago. Like, what y'all know? What's going on? Okay. So yes, and I also think that their cheating is bad. We don't need to like keep going over that, but I keep calling it like the Scandival effect, where Scandival happened and the reality TV, it warped the reality TV space's mind forever. Cheating is bad, period. Okay? What made Scandival so bad were the fact that it was cheating, but then also the details that went into it. The details. Like, that's what made it bad. Everybody who makes a mistake, I don't like cheating. I don't co-sign cheating, okay? People make mistakes. And like the therapist said that Jesse was talking to, it is the one thing that people love to judge on, but most people have also done. If you learned your lesson, you show remorse, fine. The way Jordan was talking to Jesse, the women that I am seeing being like, he's allowed to be upset. I'm actually on his side, blah, blah. I don't expect, y'all know I'm an Aries. I don't expect Jordan to meet Jesse with like, oh, sweetie, it's okay. I'm not mad at you. Yes, he is absolutely allowed to be upset. The way he was talking to her, you could see the verbal abuse. I'm talking to you like this because you fucking deserve it. You like, and he did that while a camera was around. He did that while a camera was around. Dude, would I absolutely say, I'm talking to you like this because I'm pissed as hell because you made a stupid ass decision? Yes, I would. I would. Absolutely. Okay? In my mind, there's a difference. I seriously cannot with the women that are co-signing Jordan's behavior. It's disgusting to me. It really, really, really is. It really is. Sorry, not sorry. Okay. Do I think Jesse should block Marciano's number and never speak to again? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. If you want to make that marriage work, girlfriend, you got to do that. Okay. Sorry, not sorry. Now, when it comes to the Whitney, no, actually, I want to dial it back. Michaela and Macy, unfortunately, are doing nothing to beat the pregnant women are miserable allegations. Okay. And before y'all get mad at me, I'm not saying pregnant women are miserable. Okay. But you know, when people come on reality TV and they're pregnant, people will be like, oh, they're pregnant. They're not going to be fun. Right. That's the trope. I'm not saying I believe in that. I've had plenty of friends who have been pregnant and I have a ball with. Okay. Just don't come yelling at me. That's all. Don't come yelling at me. But they are really, really, really just like, ugh. This season. Every time I start rocking with him again, I'm like, oh my God, you guys are really just this season. Taylor Frankie Paul did come back for her throne and whip Momtok back into shape. And I can appreciate that. I do think that part of Taylor, we know Taylor is MAGA, right? We know Taylor is like, I don't want to say trad wife, but that's like, she is conservative. I do feel like when it comes to the conversations surrounding Jesse and Jordan, some of those values started to show, but I also understand keeping the peace. I do understand also when Michaela and why am I blanking? Macy. I almost said Mason. Michaela and Macy, Taylor and Jesse all went to that brunch after the barbecue and Jesse wanted to down low. I do understand both sides, right? I have learned firsthand that you should not and I have no problem coming to y'all right now. I do personally think that one of the mistakes I made was letting some of my friends, I don't know what the I am even trying to be protective right now, was letting one of my friends, former friends, talk badly about my ex-husband while I was still married to him, which is ironic because now her and I don't talk, and apparently those two are besties. Not even going to get into that. But I do think that you should not allow your friends to talk badly about your husband, or your spouse, even when you are upset with them, because it just makes things murky, especially if you are planning on staying with them. So I felt Taylor there, but at the same time, I do think that a little bit of like venting and talking shit with your girls about your partner is okay. I don't know. That I was like really 50-50 on that scene. I understood where everybody was coming from, but that was one of those things where I was like, I see it both ways. I see it both ways. But now I want to get into the fact that the show, the group of women without Demi and Whitney, I was like, this is good. Okay, this is really good because those women clearly are there for work, but they are also open to having friendships with one another and filming, if that makes sense. Whitney and Demi want it to be just transactional, and unfortunately, with an ensemble cast, I'm going to say it again, ensemble cast, that's just not going to work if you guys don't plan on coming around them at all, or if you guys plan on saying very, very damning things that people cannot come back from. That's not going to work. And I see a small group of people on the internet, of the audience, celebrating Demi and Whitney for not being fake and them just like coming in, clocking work. They're not sitting at a fucking desk and checking off tasks on Monday.com. They're filming a show with an ensemble cast. Like Eve Taylor said, how is that going to work, Whitney, when you're not in a good space with any of us to film? How is that going to work? It's going to work exactly like this. We did not see Demi or Whitney for like the first 4 or 5 episodes. You're not a full-time cast member, mama. You're not full-time. But I bet you want full-time money. I bet you want full-time money. Yeah, okay. That's my thing. I see people being like, oh, y'all don't want real reality TV. Yes, but no. Because real reality TV, real ensemble cast, gonna continue to work together. Y'all picking up what I'm putting down? Okay. And I can respect that. Like, they're housewives. Hello. Most of the housewives, they're there for monetary gain. They are there because they want other things. They want the fame. They want to, use that to get them springboard into something else. I totally understand that. That's fine for these Mormon wives as well. But you have to play the game. You don't go into your corporate job and say, I'm with little to no experience and say, I want to be the CEO. At the end of the day, this is the third season of this show. Is it good? Absolutely. They had a stellar first season. They had an amazing second season. I think they're having a good third season, but it's already starting to wear. And as I said at the beginning, where are we going from here? At this point, this show does not have 2 more seasons in it. And I'm getting my, I feel like I'm like a sports commentator with the reality TV, but in the reality TV world, but continuing to go how we're going with this cast, this show does not have 2 more seasons left in it. It does not. Whitney cannot just come, do her TikToks, show up and be like, I'm just here because I want to try out with Dancing with the Stars. She cannot just come and say, I'm only here because this show is wanting to cast one of us to play a part in this. That's not how it works. Get a fucking agent. Like the millions of actors and actresses that are not, and I'm not dissing her for taking the reality TV route to springboard her acting career, but at the end of the day, Whitney was not trying to be, for as far as we know, she was not actively trying to be an actress before this opportunity came about. It's almost giving skip the line to me, and that's what I don't like. When it came to her contract negotiations, the tickets for the Oscars, whatever, I don't care. Her being like, I did ask for a part in a scripted series. As a part of your negotiations? How entitled? I think that my mind was blown, and it probably is because I have friends who are actors in New York and LA, and I see them and I hear them talk about these parts that they are auditioning for and going out for and trying to get for themselves by working these other jobs. I'm not saying that Whitney is less than because she's using the reality TV route. Now, use the name Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, the notoriety that you have gained from this show to absolutely get you an audition. But a guaranteed spot on a scripted show? I know the third season of this motherfucking show ain't got you feeling like that. And if we want to break it down, you were only a full-time cast member in season 1. Half of last season we didn't see Whitney. Half of this season we ain't seen Whitney. And the only reason we seeing her is because they're taking us on the press tour. Bring it back, scale it back, okay? Bring it on down. I'm sorry. I don't know how these girls are feeling, but outside of Utah, y'all, you gotta be real. To me, I find to be a very disturbing person. I'm not even gonna hold y'all. First of all, it's very clear that, how do I want to say this? Jesse kind of alluded to it, of like her low self-worth, Marciano being interested in Demi first, and then him being interested in her, like she related in some way. I don't know. I can't relate. My mind can't wrap around that. You're going to have to listen to her explain to it. But it's very clear that Demi and Jesse, I think, both kind of want to live this life that is different than what they have. However, they have already had children. They have already been married twice before. And they're still young. I mean, they're my age, 30, 31, 32. They're still very young, and they have come into this newfound fame, and they clearly want to, they have more eyes on them, and maybe, you know, they're attracting other men that they never thought that they would before, right? So, and I think that rings true to some of the other Mormon wives, and even people in this show in general, right? Because I actually listened to a podcast with Chase on it the other day, and I find his insight to be so interesting. I always wonder with these women, the ones that are divorced and have already had, like Layla's already had 2 kids, she's divorced. Miranda and Chase already have 2 kids, they're divorced. Taylor has 3 kids, she's the bachelorette right now. I wonder what conversation she's having with these men. They're all still very young. Are you open to having more children? Like, what, you know what I mean? These women, these kids, they've already lived so much life before they even hit 30, because they thought that they were following this path of, you know, we're Mormon and this is what we're meant to do and XYZ and et cetera and et cetera. And now with the fame and, you know, just them all realizing that maybe this isn't necessarily what they want. It's just, I'm very interested to see. But with Demi, I am so disturbed by her, because it is so clear that Demi has studied. She's got therapy talk down. She one thing about her, she is going to throw everything that Demi is saying is not necessarily wrong, but how she's using it is the disturbing part. Okay. There, in no way, shape, or form are you you got caught up sending photos and videos of your daughter to the guy that you claimed harassed you, assaulted you. You're sending photos and videos of your young daughter and then talking to him sexually and then saying, that's just how I talk to my friends. That's just, but you just put up a whole story about how and then you're positioning these other women to say that because they don't believe you, they are victim blaming you, and that it's really ridiculous because there are 2 assault victims in the group already. Michaela is better than me, because first of all, like Michaela said, she was a child. She was 8 years old when that started for her. That's, to me, is disgusting for that. Okay. And then, I'm sorry, all of these women sitting there telling us that she said he didn't assault me. We saw how she reacted. Like, I don't think, and what pains me about this is this is not to say that something could not happen to Demi, you know, like, and I don't pray that it does, right? But all of this behavior, because she's not wanting to back down and she's not wanting to get, you know, quote unquote caught. I don't fucking know. All of these things that she's making these bold statements online, I am just so again, disturbed. And I think why Whitney sees it as like, oh, that's her side, and people online, or it's fine if people online, you know, think this other thing, because Whitney herself has been in a position where things were online and according to her, they were blown out of proportion. Girl, you was doing TikTok dances next to your baby in ICU. It was a ridiculous thing to do. It just was. Okay. It was. And then you admitted that you did it for clout. That was ridiculous. All right. I just think, and then I'm not that far yet, but I did see, because TikTok cannot keep anything. People just put everything on TikTok. Apparently, Demi's talking about her brother who had Down syndrome and using that as an excuse for why she acts. Like, again, everything Demi says is correct. Having a sibling who has any type of issues that require a lot of attention, and then her being the youngest as well, yes, those can cause people to react in all sorts of ways, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know if that's why Demi is acting that way, the way that she's acting. I know it's crazy though. I know it is insane. Insane. I just, oh my God. Oh my God. I don't, and also I want to say this. I don't fucking know Marciano. I don't watch that show. This is as much as I know about Marciano is from this show. I wish these women did not give him that much airtime, that much attention, but here we are. Getting him uninvited. I mean, these networks, they have to take claims of assault and things like that. They have to take them very seriously. So I understand why he was uninvited and all of that, but it's just, I'm at a loss for words. I don't know if I've ever seen anything like this on reality TV, and it doesn't feel good. It does not feel good whatsoever. I can't. But that's all we're going to get into. Like I said, this was a Secret Lives of Mormon Wives episode. Probably I will have a guest to talk about the rest of the season. I'm going to wrap this up here. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Don't forget to comment and let me know how you are feeling about this season of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, and we will talk soon. Bye.